I'll admit I'm a sucker for a good Canucksploitation, and when I heard about a modern one called Here for Blood, I was intrigued. Here for Blood's a Canadian horror film that I went into almost completely blind. I didn't watch the trailer or read anything about it aside from someone mentioning it to me on social media. This led me to getting a screener, and I figured, what the hell? The movie's about a group of cult members that need to kidnap a child in order to fulfill a ritual. They've been kidnapping young girls and killing their babysitters. A story that's been done many times before, but this time, they did something very unique. The mass killers invade the house and normally would have no problem stopping your average teenage girl. However, tonight, the babysitter is this giant amateur wrestler, something none of them are prepared for. The original babysitter, Phoebe, has this big test that she has to study for, so she gets her boyfriend Tom to take the babysitting gig that she can't turn down. Tom proves to the family that he's not a creep and settles in for the night. Everything's going fairly normal. That is until the cult members show up and all hell breaks loose. I wasn't sure what to expect, but when Tom starts doing pile drivers on the cult guys, I knew I was in for a good time. I loved how the movie goes from serious to silly and back again. Some of the violence is so cartoonishly over the top that you can't not laugh. There was a scene where someone gets decapitated and the blood keeps spraying everywhere in a Evil Dead 2 sort of way, but not a lazy copy. Lots and lots and lots of practical effects. The movie also has a slew of clever one-liners and some good old-fashioned jokes. There's even a few genuine laugh-out-loud moments. I laughed at this more than 99% of actual comedies from the past few years. One major thing I liked about this right out of the gate was the lead. He's not some dumb musclehead. I was worried that he was going to be a lunkhead character, but they gave him some depth and made him someone who you'd root for. He defends the girl with compassion and proceeds to beat the snot out of the bad guys. Phoebe was very pretty, and at first I thought she was going to be the bitchy girlfriend, but then she turned out to be just normal. She did give Tom the side eye for some of the things he was doing, but when she realizes the full scope of the situation, she is right there with him, supporting him and helping him when he needs it. The little girl Grace is also very good. She's the right amount of cute kid and never goes into the annoying screaming child that does stupid things and constantly needs to be rescued. There's a few moments with her when I was cheering for what she was doing. I also was not ready for some of the directions the film went in a good way. Not major surprises, just pleasant ones. I don't want to give too much away, but I'll just say that the story goes in a few directions and it's a lot of fun. As far as the negative, I will say it took a little while to get into. However, once it gets going, it's off to the races. I'd say the first 15 minutes or so are a little slow but necessary to set everything up. I think if it had been nonstop from the start, the extreme violence and action wouldn't have had the same impact. Here for Blood's an enjoyable throwback to when horror movies were made to entertain the audience and not insult them. They took a basic horror trope and spun it in a unique way while still delivering that old school vibe. It didn't turn into one of those subvert your expectations films. It was just a movie where you were expecting one thing, but then immediately understood what the filmmakers had in store. For some folks, they might not like the obvious low-budget look, but for me, I didn't mind at all. I thought the cheesiness of some of the effects made it funnier. The writing's good, the action was well constructed, and the violence/gore drove straight through to ridiculous levels. If they tried to cut back on the violence, it would have made it feel like it was supposed to be serious, and that would have killed the vibe. Instead, they embraced the absolute chaos of everything and went all out with it. Here for Blood is a bloody good time. It's definitely not for everyone. I will say, if you're fans of Evil Dead 2, street trash, and old school horror that doesn't take itself too seriously, you'll like it. The movie's currently streaming on Screambox, but you can rent it on VOD just about anywhere. If you're looking for a movie from 2023 that feels like a lost film from the 90s, check this one out.